Don't let life replace your relationship with God. You see, look, there's many of us out here today, and what we do, we wake up in the morning and, you go to work, or you drop the children off at school, get dressed, drop the children off at school, go to work, do your bits and pieces, come home from work, you do socialising, go on social media, you do all your bits and pieces, go shopping, cook dinner and all the rest of it. But what you need to understand here is that you can't allow that to take precedence in your life. You can't allow that to be number one in your life. Because what you need to understand, okay, is that in these end days, okay, if your life is like that, if your life is a picture of what I just said, in these end days, okay, your faith has to be on point, okay? Your faith has to be on point. And if you're not spending time feeding your faith, and what you're doing, you're allowing your life to be number one in your life. All you do is work and do things. You're busy. And what's happened now is your work life and your life has now taken over your relationship with God, where your relationship with God is not priority anymore. Okay, you probably might not realize this. It's not priority anymore. What you need to understand is that in these end days, okay, if your life is like that, you're not going to survive. You know what's going to end up happening to you? You'll end up becoming an apostate. You'll become an apostate. An apostate is someone who leaves the faith. Okay, the Bible says, the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the end days many shall depart from the faith, taking heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. The reason why that happens is because life has taken hold of certain believers, and faith is not a priority. Their faith is not being fed. And if your faith is not being fed, okay, because your relationship with God is put on the back burner, you'll end up your faith will end up being shipwrecked. Your faith will just ultimately be shipwrecked. And what will happen is that you'll fall into doctrines of evil spirits, doctrines of devils, and you'll be seduced away by evil spirits. And next thing you know, you're so far away from God, you think, wow, am I that far? Yes, you're that far away. So what's happened is that you've allowed life and the monotonousness of life, the opium of life, has got in the way of your relationship with God and got in the way of you feeding your faith and growing in the things of God. So what you need to do today is that you need to examine your life. It says this in 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5, 6, 7. It says, examine yourself to see if you be of the faith. Are you of the faith? Are you feeding your faith? Are you growing in the things of God? Or has life taken over you? Has life taken over your relationship with God, where now it's all about you and your relationship with God is non-existent? So you need to check yourself out. You need to examine yourself. You need to feed your faith, because if you don't feed your faith, you're not going to win in these end days, and the devil's going to railroad you. But anyway, that's the information. You can do what you want with it.